little footage of this pre-game warm-up here. The boys are getting ready for the...
We'll still be going again.
Louis, Frank, you got the beer.
I remember one thing, though. I was looking for pucks, and I haven't gotten it.
I got I got shade today. Anybody got a rubber ball? Well, I'll see the guy stand.
Getting ready for
I think I got one, but I couldn't find
the
it.
game tonight is the 15th anniversary of the... Gotcha, Bobby. Of the Cobourg Cougars All-Ontario Championship, playing against the current Cougars.
Yeah, you're at that age.
There's Bill's house here, getting a little bit of refreshment before the game. Talking a good game. Alex getting all ready here, right into the coat. And here's all the charming ladies. It's going to be the cheering section for tonight.
You're airborne. We didn't have the wheels on. Why not watch it tomorrow?
We are just getting off the bus. Ready for the old dressing room.
We have to go on. Where else are we going to go?
We'll see you in the dressing room.
I got to bring our wonderful last event from someplace. You take your hockey sticks up.
Did I get you too?
Sign your name with any sticks that are
What do you
left
want?
over at the end of the game. Mrs. Kennedy, she is as excited as you guys are. If you sign it, I'm going to pick it up in about 10 minutes. And that's it. Okay, I'm coming to you. Oh, the quick fight. I'm not going to put my good pen because I don't trust you guys. All right, and we'll start we'll start with you. And away it goes, right around. Well, right on. Where are you going?
Andy, is there... I don't know.
We got some good sauce.
Well, I can find out here in a minute.
Okay, I'll be back, guys. We'll pick that up. I'll leave that here. Good hands. Okay. I'll come back in about 10 minutes. Thank you very much. I'm sorry.
Yeah. Just hang on for a minute, didn't it?
Here's one. What do you want, Boo? Where do we get our skate sharp? You do like that, John Paul. What's your hair?
You know?
It's right behind the...
No, they won't. Hey, Gar, where'd you get your sweater?
Oh, they're right across the other room.
Well, they must have scooped them again.
All right.
Gotta get Andy in action here.
Andy,
I'm alive and well. According to the paper, I am deceased.
All right.
Well, this is the home of the Cougars. The rink in which they were playing when they won the All-Ontario. Fitting place to play this game again tonight. It's about 10 to 6. And there's people already starting to come in. Make sure they get their choice of seats for tonight's game. We're expecting a full house. The 800 tickets that were set up for sold ahead of time are all gone. And there's been a lot of publicity and talk about it, so we expect one of the color men for tonight. We expect this place is going to be full. I'm going to be up in the box there filming from up there. So we'll get back to you when the pre-game ceremonies. Through this booth up here that's got glass on it. Now, I don't know how well it's going to come out, but I've looked around and can't find any other spot that looks good enough to get a good vantage point. Now this the old Cougars are getting a little pre-game warm-up out here. I guess they're getting ready for some picture taking. Look like Terry can find a seat. There, I guess they're all finally getting them arranged to get this picture. I'll try and zoom in here.
This is mic number 2. Testing number 2.
4. And the next one will be the one that's on the ice.
We using both the boys?
Yeah.
And this is what's up.
It's funny, did you see the segment in the paper? Showed what they look like.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. They were sitting around tonight laughing about those pictures. They got Jimmy Flesh in there at 6 foot, 200 pounds. He's what?
Gel together.
Hasn't
happened. You kept the practice a secret?
Well, they had, I think they had 3 exhibitions. They played against the Butley Old Timers, beat them pretty handily, and then they played a pretty good team out of Peterborough, I guess.
Oh, yeah.
Randy arranged that, Randy Fife, and they won that too. They won all their exhibitions. I think that's all they had in the way of practice, is they just got together and had some exhibitions. This is the New Look Cougars of 88-89 series. I understand they're struggling a bit in the league this year. Fairly young team. They'll have the leagues to keep these old guys going tonight. Boys are playing, running around pretty loose out there. I think they're ready for it. Before game time, this place is, you can see, is starting to fill up. Promises to be a full house close in there.
Yeah, that's a good move.
Their pre-game warm-ups here. Only got about an hour to get ready to play the hockey game. This is Bob Spooner, who will be doing the play-by-play tonight. How long you been doing the play-by-play for Cougars, Bob?
Since they became a junior C team in 1970.
In 1970, so you were play-by-play with this team when it won the championship.
Absolutely, yeah.
And,
We did it for Court Panthers too. And when you added up the Panther games that season, the Cougar games that season, we did 111 hockey broadcasts.
oh my God.
Counting the playoffs, on the road, and at home for both Cobourg and Court Hope. And Court Hope, of course, that year went 14 playoff games, plus the schedule, so it was a busy year.
I guess. What do you expect to see here tonight, Bob, from these two teams?
Well, a lot of the championship team look as if they can still play. Others, of course, have put on, like most of us have over the years, a few pounds here and there. But I think the present-day Cougar Hockey Club will learn a great deal. I don't think if you've played and you're still only in your 30s like these boys are, and you play championship hockey, that winning aura stays with you. I don't care how far you go in life, whatever you play in, if you've been a winner on such a level as an Ontario champion, then that stays with you. And I think that even as much as a lot of these fellas are 15 and 16 and 18 years old in the present-day Cougars, I think they'll find a way to play good hockey simply by throwing the puck around, and not that individual type of thing the youngsters tend to do. The oldsters tend to throw it around a little more, and I think that present-day Cougars will learn something really about team play, because this team were champions because of that. When they won it, they didn't win it because they had one or two stars. They won it because everybody had a specific role, and they always ended up doing it. And that's how they won the championship.
Well, as you know, Bob, I had a son play on that, and I followed that Cougar team for quite a few years, and that was quite a hockey club. And as you point out, they had a lot of guts and a lot of desire. And I had sat with some of these guys this afternoon. They met at Bill's house, and it was surprising the attitude going into tonight's game. There was a lot of that old desire and excitement even for this.
I think it's there. I think that when Cobourg won that title, it was the first time a Cobourg team had won an OHA title in 87 years. Now you add another 15, so it's 102 years, and Cobourg's only got one OHA title. I think as a player or an executive or in a small role I played as a broadcaster, it's something that never leaves you. It's something that's always there, and it's always something you can talk about with pride, even in a small role as a broadcaster. There are things about that year that just stand out in my mind. Winning the title was great, and beating Simcoe in the final. But that Bradford series is something I never forget that series.
The boy, as I recall, they had to come from behind.
We were down 3-1 in that series.
That's right.
And then in the sixth game at Bradford, after we won in Cobourg and brought 3-2, we were trailing 4-1 with less than a minute to go in the second when Billy got a break and was stopped, and John Pollock following up on the play, as John usually did, a lot of the rebound, and going into the third, we were only down by 2, and that goal was vitally important coming in the last minute of the period, because Rutherford scored 2 by the halfway point of the third, and all of a sudden we had a 4-4 hockey game, and then of course the dramatic Terry Irwin goal with 3 seconds to play. There was just no way they weren't going to win at home.
I guess. Well, Bob, I look forward and I appreciate you letting us do this taping out of here. You know, we're making a tape for each one of the boys, and I'm sure they'll be real pleased to have your comments on here.
Well, thank you very much, and I'm sure that in the years to come, the grandchildren that they have will certainly want to look at that. And I'm sure that some of these young men that have even youngsters today growing enough to be playing will be standing in amazement tonight at how good Dad really is.
You bet.
It's hard for youngsters to understand that Dad was a pretty good hockey player, and I think that these young men here tonight that have families, I think their young sons and daughters will be quite surprised at the abilities they have.
Thanks a lot, Bob.
You're welcome.
Please welcome Mr. Cody and Alan Gray.
Were you ever in Bradford?
Oh, jeez, was I
When I
ever.
used to do the broadcast sitting on the flagpole?
I was. I just about got in a real mess in Bradford. I was late getting to a game one night, and had to end up sitting with all the Bradford people. Uh-oh. I'm surprised they didn't go out and test that and do a little skating before. They just come right out.
Yeah, and that flagpole in Bradford, like the desk in the Bradford rink was that wide, and you had to...
That's where some of the family of the hockey players are sitting. It's kind of hard to make them out. He's filling up.
What a night. Nostalgia reigns supreme here in the Cobourg Arena Gardens. For the first time in approximately, I would guess, 10 to 15 years, almost a complete capacity crowd. Brings back memories. When you hear the names this evening of that 73-74 team, what memories it will bring ringing back to those of you who remember that eventful 1973-74 season. To many of you that were youngsters at the time, the names of these players and the accomplishments are just that, history. But history will be relived tonight when each and every member of that hockey club are back in the lineup here tonight to play the present-day Cobourg Cougars. And after this brief reminder, we don't want you to miss anything here tonight, so we'll be right back with the introductions of both hockey clubs after we take this brief commercial timeout of the Cobourg Cougar Hockey Club, and we'll be involved in the early festivities, of course, introductions of many of the dignitaries here tonight, and we won't allow you to miss one thing. The teams will be introduced individually, both teams. Then we will have introductions of the presidents of the Cobourg Cougars over the past years, and also the mayor of Cobourg, the past mayor, many people to be introduced, which we have already informed them make the speeches very brief. That sometimes is difficult for politicians, but we're sure that they will adhere to our wishes this evening. As I mentioned in the opening, the crowd in here tonight, very reminiscent of that past era, back in the 73-74, when in February, March, and April, getting a seat in the Cobourg Arena Gardens was like finding a drink on the Sahara. Very, very hard to do, and always a full house. But as I mentioned to you at the top also, that every hockey player that participated on that 1973-74 championship team is here. Not one of these young men has missed the opportunity to reunite, come together, and put on a performance tonight. I think the present-day Cobourg Cougar Hockey Club, a bunch of youngsters who I'm sure have known there was a championship back in those days. Some of the names may not even be familiar to them. They won't be awed by that, I don't believe. They're going to go out and try their best to perform their best, as I'm sure the Old Timers Hockey Club, as we'll refer to them tonight, are certainly going to upstage the young hockey players. Just a temporary delay while the nets are being put on their moorings on the ice. But once again, tonight, with the regulation, 3 periods of hockey, many names will be mentioned, and I understand Brian Keeley has, in his first intermission as his guest, Brent Lads, who is the president of the OHA. This Cobourg team, by the way, as I mentioned, a long time between championships for Central Ontario. When Cobourg won it in 73-74, this area of the province had not won a title since 1959. And certainly from the time the Cougars won it in 73 and 74, for all of you that have followed hockey, you know that this division has been well represented.
Number 3, forward, Jason Dilley. Shed the limelight in 1973-74, from second to now, Bernie Wish. The Cougar executive of 1973-74. The president was the Commonwealth John Fisher. The treasurer, still a member of the Cougar executive, Brian Seeley. The secretary, 73-74, era, Sherry McGregor. The directors included John Dunn. The man who helped me go you Cougars, go, Morris Percy. Bob Olson is not able to be with us tonight. Clark Somerville, who was the manager of that team, is in Florida. And unfortunately, three deceased members of that executive commission recognized. Joe Churcher and his wife Thelma sitting upstairs. The former president of the Cougars, the late Bill Robbins, represented by John. And the man who made it all tick, represented by his wonderful wife, Marion McGregor. Ladies and gentlemen, turn the microphone over to the man who made this whole evening possible, Rod Baker.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This has been one great night, and it's going to be a night that we will all remember. I mean this sincerely. You fans, you're great. Give yourself a applause. Now, if you like the best speakers, and the first one is a man from the 1974 Cougars. It's great to see you like this, fellas. We appreciate you taking the time to take a long way. And all the others from the Cobourg area for taking the time out to get themselves back to speak like we did. And of course, the team of 88, 89, you are the team of the Cougars, these white example. Happy, healthy, 1989, all members of the gallery, thank you.
I welcome you to tonight's game. We hope that you'll enjoy turning back the clock and taking in a lot of fun that's going to take place. Just remember those old days. You used to sneak in every place that was possible. The players, thanks for coming back, guys, because without you, there would have been no championship, there would have been no team, there would have been no game tonight. The players this year, I think that you have a goal to aim for. We hope that you will aim for that goal, and there'll be nothing nicer than having a third championship back and forward. To the fans, the most important people of all, we thank you for your support with the Ontario Championship team, we ask for your support with the new Cougars. Thank you very much. Now I'll turn you back to your genial, lovable host, Mr. Rodney Alexander Baker. People won't be charging mileage tonight. The Iceman, a respected referee in Eastern Ontario, doesn't even mind being the linesman tonight. Gus Bailey. A gentleman who is involved both with home-based hockey and overseas hockey here in this area, Pat Midget.
All just received their tax. Mr. Fisher.
They move this along.
Of the Cobourg Cougars on the occasion of their Ontario Championship reunion. The enthusiasm generated by team effort, the excitement of competition, and the challenge of the athletic pursuit itself, the combination of all these elements come to create that spirit will make this reunion a success. Please accept my sincere best wishes for the most successful reunion marked by a sense of achievement and the pleasure of good fellowship. And it's signed Daisy Easton, Premier of Ontario. Ross?
Back in the 73-74 as Boo Stevenson, and Bobby was starting in the nets for the veteran hockey club. I can recall talking to Bob some 3 to 4 weeks ago, and he hadn't faced the puck in anger in a number of years and had some concerns about going into the net to play in this hockey game. But of course, if they put Stu Watson out there, the size of Stu now, it'll be difficult for most players to get around him unless they go out there. Paul Bellin will be starting. And it's going to be Rock for the Cougars, centered by Captain Ray Murphy. And the puck dropped, and we're finally underway. Terry Lewis dumping it back into the Cougar zone, rolls in along the boards to the far side, and knocked down by Terry Irwin. It's knocked off his stick, comes back to Bevan at the point. The old-timers fire wide of the net. It bounces free on the right side, and the Cougars clear to center ice to Rock. Rock fires it in wide of the Cobourg net. Back, Paul Bevan picking it up. In back of the net, lost it back there, and a centering pass was knocked down, and Terry Irwin tips the puck to Lewis. Lewis down the right side to the line. Couldn't get it past the Cougar defense as he was taken off the puck. Irwin tried to chop it in. Doncaster fields it, throws it back to the line. Slipped across on the right-hand side of the rink and cleared out by Rich Ferguson. But Lewis knocks it back in along the boards. Wilson tips it out for the Cougars. In the center ice zone, Doncaster on the left side, flips it into the old-timer zone in back of the net. Brian Connor brings it around to the boards to Garth Beer. Beer tips it back to Connor. Connor starting out now. Breaks up the middle of the rink, hits the blue, hits the red, hits the Cougar on a long blast. Knocked down by Massey. Ferguson takes it in back of the net, takes a hit. Connor, and it's knocked flat. Young rookie Ferguson, welcome to Junior C hockey as it was played in the 70s. Terry Lewis at center, swings back with Irwin, hit across, a shot, kicked high off the glass by Massey. Rolling into Irwin in the corner, Wilson back of the net, rolls it into the corner. There's Guernsey back, flips it off the boards around here to the right side. Coming over to pick it up for the Cougars is Clapper. Clapper to center ice, gets it to Guernsey, in across the line. They have the offside call, and Brian Keeley has finally, after this,
And it seems like old times. I don't know. It must be getting age. That ladder seems to be getting a little higher every year.
well, it certainly does. But of course, we didn't have that many opportunities to climb into the press box for many's a year that we were sitting in the stands with the fans.
Up here, they can't throw creamers at us.
That's right. And tear buttons off the coats, if they don't like what you say. Jimmy Flash to center ice for the old-timers, then across the Cougar line. Swings wide, throws it in front. Loose in front of that, picked up there by Clapper and slides it ahead now. Guernsey to center, fires it in back of the old-timers net. Ringing around the boards, Chad Murphy in for the Cougars. He takes a double hit in the corner, but Clapper picks it up. He's bumped on the boards, and Flash just clears the puck out into the center ice zone. Back McLean picking it up for the Cougars. McLean down here on the right-hand side, feeds the center. Clapperton couldn't get it. Chenier knocked it back in over the line, but Clapperton intercept and feeds on the far side to Chad Murphy. Murphy's pass into the center ice zone for Hutchings, going away from him. Rolls into the old-timer zone. Along the board, Snapper Rutherford trying to get out for the oldies, and he can't. The puck loose still inside the line, and Stewie Watson knocked it to the far side. Doug Chenier up the flesh, didn't see the pass. Alex McLean for the Cougars has it, and rinkwides it to the left-hand side. On the far side, Wanamaker tips it to center ice, and a long shot. Stevenson got the pad on that long blast, so Bob Stevenson of the old-timers faces his first shot off the stick of Trev Clapperton of the oldies. Clear it to center ice. Picked up in the center ice zone by Barney Fife. Across the line to Linton. Linton's shot knocked down. Cleared in back of the net by Linton. Centering pass by Whitelaw. Score! Whitelaw center to the old sniper, Barney Fife. And he tipped it in from the edge of the crease, and the old-timers go up 1-0, and okay, Sarah, there's Barney Fife to do it as he did so many times.
Well, it came at 3 minutes and something, Bob. Unfortunately, they put a link in front of the clock. But the Cougar old-timers open up the scoring, 1-0. Barney Fife picking up the goal, Wade and pick up the assists on it.
I believe Billy Whitelaw, because he was in back of the net and fed it out front to Fife just off the edge of the crease, and he slid it underneath the sprawling Chris Massey. Puck back into the Cougar zone, and the Cougars trying to get out, dumping in back of their own net off the stick of Sean Hutchings. In the corner, Hutchings pass knocked down by Whitelaw at the Cougar line. Whitelaw to Fife. Fife back to the line. Here's a shot right on stop by Massey on that shot by Paul Bevan. The Cougars roll the puck to center. Hutchings has it. Heading up the center with Harmon across the old-timers line. Takes a shot wide of the net. A centering pass is knocked down by Fife, and Fife says, I've been out here too long. Let's ice the puck. And
Gives Lakefield State came to town on Monday night.
yes, and Robert, the Cougars 11-1. He's the coach of that Lakefield Chief Hockey Club. On the drop of the puck, Alex Calder back in the old-timer zone. Across right side, Paul Bevan to center. Up the middle, Kelly brings it into the Cougar zone. In back of the net, Kelly takes his man off the puck and then falls down on top of the puck, and will get a stoppage to play.
And the age of the kids on this other team was 6 years old. That's quite a difference.
Well, certainly Brian Connor wasn't concerned about it with the first body check when he laid it out. Cougars trying to get out of their own zone. Doncaster had it. Kelly took it off his stick, got it to Dwight Beer. His puck rolled off his stick into the corner in the Cobourg zone to the right. Kelly trying to get it out to Scooter Dunn. He's knocked down. The puck grabbed off by the Cougars. Up on the wing to Rock. Rock in across the old-timers line. Oh, Alex Calder got his stick and knocked the stick from him. And the puck's still inside the Oldies line. Finally cleared out as Alex Calder shoveled at the center ice. Dwight Beer couldn't pick it up. Scooter Dunn did. Dunn backhands to Dwight Beer. To center, a long shot wide of the net. Rich Ferguson back for the Cougar. Brings it around to the boards to Doncaster on the left wing side. Doncaster hands it off inside his own zone. Ferguson gets the puck, tips it back to his defense partner Wilson, up to Doncaster, missed it at center, and back there picking up Brian Connor in the oldie zone. Connor across to Chenier, back to Connor. Connor on the right side, left wing pass to Chenier, to center. Up on the left wing side, Chenier takes a return pass at the line and is offside as he took the pass from Garth Beer.
Didn't pick up the second assist on that goal.
There wasn't one, I don't.
Tim Linton. Yeah.
Just one.
Okay, I've got the outside line about one.
Back the action around the Cougar net, and Rock picks it up for the Cougars. Clears to center ice. The puck is tipped down the ice by Corey Baker. Chases into the oldie zone, and he takes a hit by Dwight Beer. And Dwight Beer is going to be called for the first penalty of the hockey game. There may be some people, both in the listening audience, Brian, and here in the rink, that get concerned about maybe the oldie zone body checks. I think when you only know one way to play, you play it one way.
Well, there's no question about it. A lot of these fellas are now playing no-contact hockey, but the old instincts are there, Bob. If you see a situation arising, it's pretty hard to stop and say, hey, gee whiz, I'm not supposed to do that.
Dwight Beer, so the Cougars are on the power play. Alec McLean gets a shot deflected high over top of the glass into the spectators. Corey Baker couldn't hold it. Terry Lewis grabbed it for the Oldies and throws it back into the corner to Chenier. Chenier around on the boards to Connor. Connor flipped it off the boards, but it's kept inside the line on the far side by Jody Wellwood. Terry Irwin trying to get it out. Still has it. Backhands to the line, and Terry Lewis, ever present, firing it to the right from the ice. Going back, Alex McLean to pick it up for the Cougars. In around the net, feeds off the left wing side. The pass is behind Rock at center, but picked up there and shot in by Baker off some
penalty to the old-timers.
And it remains to be seen if Jimmy pulls the sleeper here on the youngsters, which they would not have seen, of course, back in their time. Dean Longyear shoots it into the old-timer zone, in back of the net. Stewie Watson in there trying to bump his man off the puck. Calder tipped the pass up behind the net. Currency, and penalty being called. I believe it's going to be Stu Watson. All 265 pounds of them will be making his way to the sin bin. As referee Al Dick heads to the penalty box to make the call. And as it was in those days, Stewie going to the player's bench, ignoring the fact that he got the penalty.
I want to tell you, when they have Alec Calder and Stewie Watson back there on defense, Bob, there isn't a whole lot of room to get around behind that net.
Well, I think the last time the Cougars went into the zone with those two out there, they went out the side door and come in the back door. But the Oldies now 2 men short, and the Cougars on the power play. Dean Longyear at the right point, sliding it into the corner. In the corner, it's grabbed off by Clapperton. Trying to center the puck, it's knocked down, it comes to the line, and the Oldies cleared over Jim Flesh, picking up Alex Calder, steering pass and patrolling the left side, cleared it down ice. Dean Longyear for the Cougars, looking to center. His pass was errant by Dan Guernsey. Devin of the Oldies firing it back to the center ice neutral zone. The Cougars changing on the fly. Clapperton on the right side, gets it across ice. Guernsey's a draw, clears it to the neutral zone. Rock gets it for the Cougars in across the line, looking for Ray Murphy. Doncaster open on the left side. Murphy takes the pass into the corner and back, and that centers the puck and it went right by Wilson, who was coming into the slot area wide open. Rich Ferguson back for the Cougars to pick it up. Rich Ferguson in center to Rock. Rock across the Cougar line, tipping along the boards. The old-timers get one man back as they ice the puck. And it's in the corner. Going back to pick it up is Wilson. Chris Massey tending the nets for the Cougar juniors here in the first period. Pass came to center, knocked down there, brought back in across the line. There's a pass to Whitelaw. Nice off-check play by Rich Ferguson. And Bill Whitelaw was trying to get in. They're still short-handed, the old-timers, who lead 1-0. And the pass coming across here on the left-hand side. Connor takes off on a Connor soiree. In across the line. Ducks a check, then had the puck roll away. Ferguson in the corner. Tipping it up ahead to Ray Murphy. Ray Murphy to center, in across the old-timers line, looking for Doncaster. Murphy into the corner, still has possession. Rock goes in to give him a hand. Coming out of the corner with it now. Murphy rolled it in front. Bill Whitelaw there for the Old Timers, and he fires it down nice with 9 seconds remaining in the Stu Watson Old Timers penalty and counting. The Cougars regroup, heading back up ice with a pass over here on the right side. Hutchings got in across the Old Timers line, only to be checked by John Pollock, and the puck is flipped in front of the Cougar net, or the Oldies net, and knocked down there by Pollock. Pollock to center ice. In across the line, and Pollock was moving at the speed where I saw somebody getting out an egg timer because John wasn't what you would call flying on that particular soiree, Grant.
Well, John certainly has added an ounce or two from his playing days, Bob. I don't think there's any question about that. And the speed was not melting the ice, one might say, at that point in time.
Well, the thing is, when the fellows get to this age and they're all married and settled down, it's that good home cooking that does it every time, Grant. Puck into center, unable to handle it with Dimony for the Cougars, and back comes Whitelaw across the line to fight. Fight's been off the wing, shot right on. That stopped it, hung on to by Chris Massey for a face-off. Be remiss of us, Brian, on a night like tonight, with memorabilia and many fond memories, not to say tonight that we'd like to pass along a very, very special hello to a longtime Cougar fan and a supporter of the Cobourg Cougars, Mrs. Kennedy.
No question about it. I can almost bet you that she's beside the radio over there right now, taking this one in and really enjoying it. And Bob, someone else to say hello to tonight is Don Gilliam, who unfortunately is confined to a hospital bed.
Don Gilman.
Gilman.
Wow, that's too bad to hear, and we certainly hope he's up and about again. Puck knocked down into center ice. Connor clears it to an open wing after this fight. He's beaten to it by Wanamaker. Off the boards to center. Chenier knocking it down. And across the line. Chenier with a shot wide of the net. And Massey grabs that off the backboard. I was rumor had it today that Mrs. Kennedy had decreed that her cats could not even purr during the course of tonight's hockey game break.
Well, Mrs. Kennedy, I know that she's got to be caught between a rock and a hard place tonight, Bob, because I know our friends up at CKLY and Lindsay are doing the broadcast of the Grand Muskie hockey game tonight.
On the face-off, the Oldies rolled in on Massey again, and he hangs on for a face-off. Certainly over the years, the broadcast with Brian, when we go back to those early days, and a lot of Cougar fans that became Cougar fans did so because of the media. We always have to go back and thank CHUC for being pioneers and risking broadcasting those early days and allowing us to bring it to the fans.
Wally Scott used to drive out to the 115 bypass to be able to pick up the station and find out exactly what the Cougars were doing.
I was talking about Wally earlier in the game, some of the stunts he used to pull. He was certainly one of the characters of the game, no question about it, back in the 70s. On the draw, the Cougars come to center. Clapperton across the line, his shot bounced off Bevan on into the corner. Kelly and the Old Timers around on the board towards White Beer, and he steers it out into center ice. Wanamaker back to Alec McLean. McLean up on the right side. It's tipped too far for Dan Guernsey and cleared out into center ice. And back is Alec McLean across ice on the far side. The pass tipped to the Old Timers line, and Stu Watson calmly knocks it down. But right there to fire it back in, Stevenson making the save on Chad Murphy's long shot. Around off the boards. Beer in back of net. Around to Scooter Dunn on the left side. Got by him to center. McLean picks it up there. Bounces it back to the Old Timers line. Kelly knocking it down to Dunn. Dunn at center. To the line. Lets the shot go. That bounced off McLean. And it's picked up and cleared to center. Back goes Dunn for it. Clearing it back. In on his own net. Stevenson having to stop that. Back of the net. There's Big Stewie being tied up by Alec McLean. But Watson up with the puck. Got it to the boards. Kept in. And a long shot from the blue line. Scores! Here! Let it go from the blue line. As he kept it in front of the Cougars. And the Cougars have tied the score at 1 on that long shot from the left point by Hare. And it's a 1-1 hockey game.
Well, the goal comes during the 10th minute of the opening period, and it appeared that it went all the way from the blue line because Captain Murphy is picking up the puck to take over and give to him as a souvenir.
I certainly would have to say it did go all the way, Brian, because the traffic was not that heavy in front of Bob Stevenson.
Dave Hare picks up the goal. Dwayne Murphy, the assist. 10:56, the time of the goal.
On the drop of the puck, Don Castor for the Cougars to center ice with Rock. Firing a long shot in wide of that. Back there, Calder rings it around the left wing boards. Whitebeard getting the puck to center, knocked down by Dean Longear. Longear fires it right back into the oldie zone. Back goes Doug Chenier to pick it up. Up the middle, right on the stick of Terry Lewis. He dumps to center. On the right wing side, Lewis in across the line. Tried to fake through, and the puck rolled right to Massey, and he hangs on for face-off.
We've got just under 10 minutes to go now in the opening period. A 1-1 tie. Tonight's broadcast coming to you live and direct from...
Yeah. Okay. All right. Just one spot.
Okay. 9 minutes to play in the first period, and here's Bob.
Thank you, Brian. Into center ice, Terry Irwin couldn't corral it. Harmon of the Cougars shoots it down ice. No icing on the play. Back Calder brings it around on the left side to Chenier. He let it go to Dwight Beer. Beer got it out over the line, but was checked in his tracks by Hutchings. Back comes Hutchings. A shot right on. Stevenson knocks it down. Bob Stevenson in the nets for the old-timers. Puck in the corner. Dimony there for the Cougars. He's being tied up by Terry Lewis. The puck came to Dwight Beer. Beer looking for somebody on the left side as he comes to center. Tips it ahead and hit Terry Irwin, and he chops it into the Cougar zone. In back of the net, Ferguson lost it. Lewis picks it, centers Irwin in front, shot off the crossbar. Bouncing back in front. Another shot by Lewis over top of the net. What action, just like the olden days.
Well, you think she was winding down that game in Bradford, Bob, when we had Terry Lewis buzzing around the net and Terry Irwin out there trying to pull the trigger, just couldn't do it. And we just might mention that during the first intermission tonight, a gentleman that the Ontario Hockey Association, Brent Lads, will be our guest in the first intermission.
Well, I'll certainly sit and listen to that one, Brian. Puck cleared out by the Cougars to center ice. Picking it up at center, Corey Baker hit across the line, took a bump, and the play was called.
It's hard to visualize Jim Flesch as being 6 foot tall and 200 pounds.
I read that, and I thought, boy, they can't be talking about the one I know. Cougar old-timers were offside, trying to get in the right side. Snapper Rutherford on that far side. He's out with John Pollock. Pollock's on the left. Jimmy Flesch centering the line. On the face-off, Baker gets it back inside his own line. Alex McLean on the right wing side into center to Rock. Rock to the old-timers line, checked off the puck. McLean knocked it down in center. Then Rock comes back. That's a long shot goal. Bounced high in the air off Brian Connor. And rolling along the inside the old-timer zone. Connor now to center to Flesch. The backhand pass knocked away by Wanamaker. Back come the Cougars, a long shot wide, hustling in after it here in the wing is Baker. He's beaten to it by Connor, who clears it up the middle. And is picked up by Wanamaker once again by the Cougars. Tipping along the boards, Rutherford intercepts to Pollock. Get across the line. Pollock drop pass to Flesch. Flesch lets her go, knocked down in front. And looking for it and has it underneath his pads is goaltender Chris Massey. Not being what it was once was, and but yet he knew where to go. The moment he dropped it, he headed for the front of that Cougar net. On the face-off in the oldie zone, Kim Linton centers it in front. And Barney Fight missed from point-blank range. Bill Whitelaw tied up in behind the net. And the puck picked up by Chad Murphy. Long pass too far down ice, intending that for the Cougars right winger Clapperton. It's fired back into the old-timer zone. Alex Calder back for the oldies. In along the boards to Barney Fight. Fight can't get away as Chad Murphy checked him, but the puck bounces free. Kim Linton up to Fife. Fife rolls it in wide of the Cobourg net. In back of the net, rung around on the boards, but Fife came in to steal momentarily. Then he, in turn, was checked by Hare. Hare has the Cougar goal. It's a 1-1 tie. A long shot by Chad Murphy, and Bob Stevenson got that right pad on that, steered to the corner. Stu Watson in there. Chad Murphy and picks it up for the Cougars. Trying to get it back to the point. He's checked off the puck and come Whitelaw out on the right side to center. Whitelaw to the Cougar line. Still has it, drops in the slot. Fife, check from behind, goes into the corner after it, brings it into the far side boards. Longier was there for the Cougars and clears it along the boards. Kept in by Linton. Knocked in back of the net, and all 5 of the old-timers head for the bench. They're being pushed back on the ice by the guys that don't want to come over. Back come the Cougars to center. The pass to Clapperton to the line. A high backhand shot off the glass wide of the old-timers net. Stu Watson back of the net, being chased by Trevor Clapperton. Watson on the right wing side. His long pass goes by everybody. We could have an icing call as it's a 1-1 tie here in the Cobourg Arena. About 4.5 to go. The icing was waved off. Doug Chenier back to pick it up for the oldies at the line. Steers it up to Scoot down at center ice. Scooter Dunn to the line with Kelly. In across the line, check from behind by Rock. Kelly came along to keep it in. Rock couldn't get to it. Dunn did. Fired it well wide of the net. Picked up by Dwight Beer. In back of the net, Dwight Beer tried to run front. He did. It's in a scramble of players. Picked up on the far side by Doncaster, who clears to center. Doug Shear back to knock it down. Chenier to the line. In across the line, Dwight Beer brings it in back of the net. Into Trappin is Wilson for the Cougars off the boards to Rock. He couldn't get it out. Here's Doug Chenier with a shot right on. A good stop by Massey. 1-1 tie in old time.
Cougar net. 1-1 hockey game. 4.5 minutes to play in the first period.
On the draw, we've got a souvenir, and it's easy for us to laugh. We don't have to sit down there anymore.
Right.
Cougars come to center. Doncaster rolls it into the old-timer zone. Doug Chenier back to pick it up. He's on the right boards as he moves to center. Fed it off the boards. Doncaster was there to pick it up. Back in with Murphy. Doncaster's pass was knocked down. Gets it again in along back of the net. Still has it. Doncaster tried to feed it to Ray Murphy and intercepted by Chenier to center. Off Lewis, it bounces all the way down the ice. Massey steering it aside for Wilson in back of the Cougar net. Wilson off the boards, got it to center ice. Connor picks it up at the far boards. Sidestep one check. Feeds off the boards to Irwin. Across to Lewis and across the line. Lewis's pass rolled to the goal mouth and was grabbed by Chris Massey.
One of the things, Bob, prior to the last break we had, there was a line out there, an interesting lineup, because it was reminiscent of one of the lines that Coach McGregor threw out when he had these affiliated players up. We had Rob Dunn, Dwight Beer, and Pat Kelly forming one line out there for the old-timers.
Now you recall when they first brought up the Scooter in the Kingston series, and he responded with 2 goals in that 7th game here in the Cobourg Arena Gardens back in February of '74. In the Cougar zone, it's wrapped off the boards. Harmon trying to get out. Jimmy Flesh in there, picking it up into the corner. Flesh centers in front. Score! Snapper Rutherford with a snap blast to the right-hand side.
I think you can say that he accounted for that goal.
Well, he certainly added to the total.
It's wonderful when you know what these guys do for a living, isn't it?
Yes, he sees my income tax on an annual basis.
17 minutes plus the time of that goal for the old-timers. Here's the announcement.
Snapper Rutherford will get it on a nice setup from Jim Flesh. On the draw at center, the Cougars cleared into the old-timer zone. Alex Calder is being tied up by Hutchings. Coming in now, Dimony takes it in back of the net. Dimony looking to try to feed back. Paul Bevan tying him up in the corner. Harmon of the Cougars goes in, and we've got a sees net. On the draw, it rolls in back of the old-timer net. Watson couldn't get to it. Chenier does. Chenier being washed by Rock. The puck came around on the right-hand side. Picked up by Kerry Irwin. And he cleared it out on the open wing. The puck batted back into center ice. And it's knocked off the stick of Jody Wellwood here in center. But Longear of the Cougars picked it up and fired it in back of the old-timers net. Doug Chenier back of the net. Around on the boards to Stu Watson. Off the boards now to Bill Whitelaw right side. Whitelaw up ahead. The puck bounced off a skate in center, and Kim Linton knocked it into the Cougar zone, where it's quickly brought to center ice. And I'll tell you right now, Dave Hare is a fortunate man. There's a long shot high and wide of the net, taken by Wellwood in the old-timer zone, and Hare was fortunate because Stu Watson had him lined up for something in the Grays and just decided to stick check him as he went by. Puck tied up in the old-timer zone to the left of Stevenson. We'll get another face. The puck knocked wide of the net. Clapperton in back for the Cougar. Saves in front. Oh, great save by Stevenson. What a stop by the old veteran. He got the stick up, knocked it up.
To retain that 2-1 lead for the old-timers over today's Cougars.
On the draw, scooped down on the left side, tied up, couldn't get out. Kelly tried his luck. He couldn't get anywhere either. Finally coming over to knock it out was Paul Bevan into center. Ferguson for the Cougars lost the puck. Kelly to Dunn. Dunn shooting it into the Cougar zone, going back. Rich Ferguson in back of his own net. Around off the boards, feeds it on the wing. Scoop Dunn knocks it down. Has to wait now. Kelly was late getting out. Dunn gets it in, tips it on into the corner. Wilson going back in after it. Has it on the left-hand side, feeds it on the left wing. Coming to center, Guernsey, Clapperton, Murphy across the line. Guernsey on the left wing side. Stop, sets it up in front by Connor. Connor feeds it on the right side to Beer. Hit across the Cougar line. Beer rolls it harmlessly to Massey, who hangs on for face-off. We're 2-1, the old-timers leading it here. And we'll remind you tonight's Junior C action is coming to you live on CHUC.
One spot? Running one spot? Okay.
Percy.
One spot.
I recognize that voice doing that. Bob Spooner back in the Cobourg Arena with Brian Keeley. The old-timers in the Cougar zone tipped in back of that. Irwin tried to center, and Massey got the glove on it.
Ready to pull the trigger because if he pulled the trigger the way he used to, I think Massey may have a problem seeing it.
Kept in the Cougar zone. Rich Ferguson back in the Cougar net. Rolling puck. Irwin intercept for the oldies. Back in front. Darth Beer to the corner. He's beaten with the puck by Rock. Rock clears it out into center ice to Murphy. Murphy picks it up. In across the line. Ray Murphy to the slot. Backhand shot. Stopped by Stevenson. Cleared to the corner. Over to the far boards goes Chenier. He slides into the puck and
We're going to be in the first period. To start off this second period, Terry Lewis for the Moldy Oldies, Ray Murphy for today's Cobourg Cougars. The score is 2-1 in favor of the Moldy Oldies. They're playing shorthanded as Garth Beer picked up a 2-minute interference penalty at the 20-minute mark of that first period. Now with the play-by-play action of the second period, the voice of Junior C Hockey, Bob Spooner.
Thank you very much, Brian. Into the Oldies line, Brian Connor quickly trapped it for the Oldies, clears back to the Cougar line, and back picking it up Wilson for the Cobourg Cougars. Wilson to center ice, beads on the right wing, too far for Rock. Into the Oldie zone, picked up by Connor, who got it to Lewis. Lewis comes to center, drops the trailer off to Irwin, back to Lewis, and across the line that got away from him, and knocked into the corner in the Cougar zone. The Cougars, of course, have 3 goaltenders, and they've made a change. Stothard is now playing in goal for the Cougars, the young Cougars. Murphy steals a puck in the Oldie zone and shot wide. Ron Fowler's in the net for the Oldies now, as we have an off.
Second period starts. That's Pocket over on the end of the bench.
Over here? Oh, yeah. Okay. All right. Back to the action in the center ice zone, picked up there by Doncaster on the right wing for the Cougars, in across the Oldies line. Swings on into the corner, still has it. Chenier goes in to try to pin him in back of the net. Doncaster got the puck free, trying to find an open man. The Cougars on a power play against the Oldies. Doncaster along the right boards into the corner to Ray Murphy. Ray Murphy back of the net, swinging on to the right side now. He gets himself tied up, but got the puck to Wilson, back to Murphy. Murphy here on the left wing side. Get along the boards. Draws some attention from Stu Watson. Watson freezes the puck long.
Yes, that was what you could call the big and the small, but
both notoriously tough guys in their day. There's Flesh knocking Guernsey down with a bit of a hook. It's cleared to the line and knocked down the ice by Snapper Rutherford of the old-timers. And right on the net, Bedard steers it off to Alex McLean, right side, feeds it up to the line. Guernsey looking for the pass in center, missed the pass. Rutherford was right there, and he clears it off the boards for the old-timers. Wanamaker feeds up on the far side. It's tipped to center. Chad Murphy couldn't get anywhere, and Jimmy Flash right there to backhand it down ice. John Pollock chasing down ice after Wanamaker in back of the net. Wanamaker around the far boards to Clapperton, the center to Chad Murphy. Murphy to Guernsey across the line. Guernsey was poke checked, and Rutherford steals. Gets it to Flesh. Flesh in across the line. Cuts to the wing, feeds it off to Rutherford. Rutherford back along the boards, and the puck deflects off a skate, and it's tipped down ice. After that puck in a foot race, Devon chasing back, but it's called on the offside. Clapperton of the Cougar.
Face-off taking place just inside today's Cougars blue line.
On the drop of the puck, Whitelaw knocks the puck down. It comes over to the left wing side. Over is Wanamaker for the Cougars. Clears it up. Kept in by Whitelaw. Whitelaw cutting into the slot. Tried to pass, and Chad Murphy cleared the center. Calder bounced it off the boards and picking it up for the Cougars. Guernsey back to the line to Chad Murphy. Across the line. Clapperton drops it back. Guernsey cutting in. Picked it up. Pinned up against the boards by Whitelaw. And the puck tipped to Barney Fife, who's knocked down as he came out to center ice. Back comes McLean. In across the old-timers line. McLean for the Cougars, and his pass knocked away by Barney Fife. Fife down the right side. Being chased by McLean. That's no chase at all. Fife got caught. The pass came in front. Whitelaw knocked it down. And it goes wide. Linton centered it. And a puck off the side of the net. Cleared around on the boards. That'll go the length of the ice. The Cougars. Oh, easy.
I'm going to check block. All right.
Old-timers jumping into the Cougar zone. In the corner, Pat Kelly threw it in front. It was cleared behind by Bedard. Back in the corner, Kelly back of the net to Dwight Beer. Centered it in front, right to the crease. Over picking it up the left wing side now. The Cougars clear the puck to center ice. Picked up in center by Dimony. His shot was blocked. Stu Watson back, bouncing it off the boards. Dwight Beer picks it up. Beer for the Old-timers, in across the line. The long shot right on, and Bedard hangs on to that. We'll get a face-off with the right side. Carries on into the Old-timer zone. Into the corner. Corey Baker tried to center, went off a stick back of the net around the right side. Wilson keeps it in. And Jody Wellwood came in, tipped it to the corner. Wilson in for the Cougars. This is in the Old-timer zone. Back to the point. Rock winds up, shot blocked. And Irwin scoops it off the boards for the Cougars to center ice. In center, shot right back in by the Cougars. Ron Fowler of the Old-timers off the boards to Garth Beer. In the center, Irwin going after it, was beaten to the puck. And in the center ice zone, it stepped back inside the Cougar line. Picking it up here on the left wing side is Wilson. Backhands to center. It went over Wellwood's stick. Chenier got it to Lewis. Puck rolled free in the neutral zone. Lewis off the backboards. And he hit the linesman. The puck grabbed off by the Cougars now as the blast was wide of the net by Rock. And the puck back into center ice. In centers, Calder knocked it down. Lewis came back to pick it up for the Old-timers. Lewis back in his own zone. Two Cougars in pursuit. Lewis got it to Irwin. Irwin to Beer. Bounced off his stick and across the line. Beer knocked it down. Gets by his man. Cuts into the corner. Took a shot. Scores! Garth Beer from a very acute angle. Let a shot go. He was almost beyond the red line. It hit Bedard in the side of the leg, deflecting in. And that Cougar experience of the oldies paying off, Brian, to shoot when you're by yourself no matter where you are.
That's right, Bob. If you get a shot on goal, the chances are it may go in, and that's exactly what happened. We'll wait and pick up the official on the goal. It came during the 5th minute. Here's the announcement now.
Face-off, the puck into the Old-timer zone is cleared down ice by Connor. McLean back for the Cougars. McLean deep in his own zone, watched by Rutherford. Got it up along the boards into center ice. The pass in center. Murphy has it. Lets the shot go. Came over to Doncaster. His shot high and wide of the corner of the net. Picked up by Pollock of the Oldies. To Flesh at center. Flesh in across the line. Looking, drops to Rutherford. Rutherford into the corner with it. Tips it back of the net to Flesh. And Alex McLean intercepted it in along the backboards. Flesh trying to tie him up. It's kicked around on the far side to Doug Rock. It was knocked off his stick to the left wing side. Wanamaker there. Clears it to center. Puck knocked down by Bevan. Cleared right back into the junior zone. Steered back of the net by Bedard for McLean. McLean behind the net to Doncaster left side. His pass knocked down and Murphy tried to get out. It came to center. Rock couldn't pick it up, but Doncaster followed up into the Old-timer zone fight. Steals for the Oldies. Gets it up the middle to Flesh. Flesh with Pollock to center. Flesh will let the shot go, and I'm sure they'll have a change as he heads to the bench. Boy, Bedard loved that high shot. The puck rung around on the boards in the Cougar zone. Third to center ice. Back to pick it up Billy Whitelaw. Back in his own zone. Whitelaw got it to center. Knocked down by Fife, who turns back into his own zone. To Connor off his stick. Connor sends it back to Chenier. Chenier off the boards into center ice. Picked up by Bill Whitelaw. In across the juniors line. Lets a shot go. Bedard with a pad save. And Wanamaker with a clear to the corner. Along the left wing side. Cleared into center ice. The puck gets by the defense. Going after now. Poppert breaking in alone. Takes a shot. He scores! Poppert put the shot between the legs of veteran goaltender Ron Fowler. And the junior Cougars cut the margin now to 3-2. Poppert. Well, Clapper put that puck in today's hockey vernacular in the 5-hole. Right through the legs of Ron Fowler. And the Cougars from the draw at center with a long blast goal. Bedard steers it up off the glass. That came off the stick of Paul Bevan. It comes back along the boards. Bevan there to keep it in. Took a shot, was blocked by Chad Murphy. Breaks down the right side, one man back. Murphy trying to get in, checking behind. Guernsey falls and scores! Guernsey following up on the puck. And he put it into the net to tie it up for the junior Cougars at 3.
That goal comes still within the 7th minute of the period, so those two goals scored within a minute of each other. And the Cougars tie it up at 3. It seemed to be the tide was swerving towards the Old-timers.
Well, Guernsey followed up the play. It appeared as if Stu Watson had taken out Clapper. Indeed he did, but the puck was lying only about 10 feet in front of the Cougar net, the old-timers net, when Guernsey came in and popped it in past the bodies of the two players lying in front of the net. And the juniors have really picked up the tempo now, I think, recognizing the oldies are wearing down a bit. In center, Wilson picks it up. He's knocked off stride by Beer. The puck over to Lewis, and the play is called. White Beer is getting a penalty from referee Al Dick for that impeding the progress of the Cougars at center ice.
Well, Bob, one of the things that maybe the fans don't really understand here is the fact that tonight's game was designated as a no-contact game to cut down on the possibility of any injury, and I think that's what the call was made at center ice for.
Absolutely, he made body contact, but he also had a bit of a knee in there. Well, with the score tied at 3, it's all it was supposed to be. We'll take time out to remind you tonight's Junior C Exhibition Hockey is live on CHUC.
Showing the last 2 goals, it happened so fast. Unless we get a break in the action, may want to show another commercial.
Okay, we're back to the action. The puck top.
And then at 7:47, Dan Guernsey from Trev Clapperton and Chad Murphy giving the today's Cougars a 3-all tie.
And a close call down at the Cougar zone as Terry Lewis got a backhander away, just trickled wide of the net. Back on the Cougars, Doncaster into the zone after it. And he cleared it high over top of the net. Back of the net, Sean Rock. Couldn't get anywhere. Doug Chenier clears it around to Dwight Beer. Beer looking for Lewis, fires it down the ice. This, of course, the Cougars are short-handed, the old-timer Cougars, short-handed. And the Cougars come to center with a pass to Ray Murphy. Off his stick, slides into the Cobourg zone. Fowler out to bounce it off the boards. Doug Chenier is checked by Ray Murphy. Murphy gets away from Lewis. Lets his shot go. Fowler blocks that. And Doug Chenier on the rebound for the oldies. He clears it to center. Terry Lewis there, and he propels the puck the rest of the way down the ice. Richard Ferguson back for the Junior Cougars. In back in his own net. The Cougars on the power play. The feed to Dan Guernsey. 30 seconds in the penalty remaining as Guernsey left it for Ferguson to center. Long shot by Ferguson, picked up by Fowler, and Dwight Beer on top of that one, and quickly fires at the length of the ice as the penalty is winding down. Now 20 seconds and counting to the oldies. It's a 3-3 hockey game. The puck in the junior zone. Pollock steals for the oldies. Lets a backhander go, and that's knocked aside. In front of that, they score! Jimmy Flagg in front of that, and wrapped home that backhand after Pollock had been stopped. Pollock persisted, swinging back on that, rolling in front, and the ever-present Jimmy Flagg was there to bang it into the bottom left-hand side. 4-3. That a short-handed goal, Brian Keeler.
8 seconds left in the penalty to Dwight Beer, and the old-timers come up with a goal.
Face-off at center, and the Cougars clear it in. Baker cleared it in, and it was quickly dumped out by Brian Connor to center. Rolls back into the Cougar zone. Wanamaker got hooked off the puck, but managed to corral it to McLean. McLean out on the boards. The puck kept in by the oldies, but finally rolls to center ice. The long pass by Wellwood off of the skate of Baker. Into the corner, Connor goes with Baker. Connor now tied up by 2 of the junior Cougars. The play will come to the face-off to Fowler's left. Brian, the official...
We can carry over with it.
We just want to prove to you it can be done.
Face off in the old-timer zone. Fight comes to center up to Whitelaw. Off his skate, bouncing into the Cougar zone. McLean off the boards. The puck brought back in by Doug Chenier. Lets a backhander go. Stopped by Bedard. The rebound line 3. Rock clears to Wellwood. Off the boards. Stu Watson there to keep it in and blast wide. Over goes Alec McLean in the right corner. Linton runs into him, but the puck was well out. Barney Fife in center. Ducks a couple of checks. Steps around 3 men. Ducks a hook and swings into the corner with it. Back to the point, and the puck is intercepted. Cougars break the center ice and taking a dive. That's Julie Wellwood. And the fans buzzing about that Barney Fife wizardry with the stick handling. In the old-timer zone, the puck cleared to the line. Alec McLean keeps it in and lets the shot go, and that's in the souvenir land up in the front. Alec Kohler gets the puck to center ice. Pat Kelly there trying to get it to Dunn. The puck intercepted at the Cougar line and brought out by Dean Longyear. Longyear checked from behind by Dwight Beer. And play is called.
Putting together a super package because we understand the game's going to be broadcast on cable TV within the next week or so with the voice feed from CHUC.
Right on, Brad. Everybody's giving their all. Think it's a successful evening. As the oldies clear the puck in, Bedard hung on to it with Terry Kerwin and Terry Lewis both coming in after that puck. 4-3, the old top buzzer.
Certainly did, and he didn't drop out of the play box because he came right back and he did some backtracking that time too.
Cougars break the center. Murphy has it, clears it in. Fowler steers it high off the glass. Sean Rock into the corner after, but it's bounced away from him, and Terry Lewis clears to center. He tried to get by Rich Ferguson, couldn't do it. Ferguson clears it back into the old-timer zone, in back of the net court. Brian Connor of the oldies picks it up, coming to the blue line to Terry Lewis at center. Lewis flipped a long shot, hit a leg, picks his rebound up, look out, shoots, kicked out by the Cougar goaltender Bedard, and into the corner, back to the line. Connor kept it in as Rock couldn't get it out. Ferguson, he'll try his luck going the other way, around on the board. Coming over for it is Doncaster. He managed to get it to center to Murphy, but Chenier knocked it down. Back across the line, just out of the reach of Terry Lewis. And it rolls in to Doncaster. Ferguson now taking it back to the net. Beats up on the left side too far for Doncaster, and Stu Watson lets that 99-footer go. Kicked out by Bedard. Flash watching Ferguson with it. Off the boards to center. Puck to Ray Murphy. Turning back inside the junior zone. Clears it up on the right wing side. A long shot by Clapper is gloved, and Fowler decides that
Each kid in attendance, 12 and under, is receiving a ticket. At the end of the game, numbers will be drawn for the autographed hockey sticks of the Moldy Oldies tonight.
tremendous cooperation. Pollock made a nice move, got right through it, stopped Bedard. As the puck went to the corner, Pollock goes back in after it again, and couldn't get away from Alec McLean along the boards and tipped away into center ice by Cloward and Black. Flesh goes back inside his own line for it. Backhands it up to Rutherford. He was checked by Guernsey, who clears it back in the old-timer zone. Fowler out of the net, banks it off the boards to center ice. Wanamaker has it back at the Cougar blue line. Wanamaker sends it round wide to McLean. McLean up on the right side, too far on that far side for Clapper. Cleared up by the Oldies and down ice. Going back inside the line, it's cleared high up into the center ice zone. Guernsey floated it, knocked it down to Junior Cougars across ice to Chad Murphy. He dumps it on into the old-timer zone. Alex Kohler back for it, being watched by Clapper. He rolled it free back to the net. Clapper's got it in front, just bounced it back to the blue line. McLean keeps it into the juniors. In front of the net. Puck is knocked down. Clapper's trying to get it out in front, back off the board. And it's golfed out and hit the linesman. As the Cougars tried to ice it, but it hit the linesman. That cadet. Back comes Wanamaker to center. He's checked by Whitelaw. Up the Fife and across the line. Fife for the old-timer. Stop, still waits. And then fired it off the leg. It bounces into the corner. Wanamaker around to Wellwood. That hit the linesman again. Fife keeps it in, ducks a couple of checks. Takes a pass back to the corner, looking for somebody open. Fife in front of that. Shot right on. A great save by Bedard. Just scored the rebound.
Paul Bevan came in from the point, and I think he was the one that finally broke the goal. We'll have to wait and catch the official on it. But certainly, Barney Fife with the puck in the corner, hung on, and finally one of the defensemen broke in, and the Moldy Oldies go up 5-3, Bob.
Well, Brian will catch the official. Just a comment I made in pregame while all the ceremonies were going on, that I thought that the veterans would pass the puck more and more often and take their time in doing things as opposed to this endless skating that goes on. I think Brent Ladd's touched on that in the intermission. He thought the Cougars were doing too much skating and not enough passing, and the Oldies were doing the passing. Well, that play materialized with some great pass by Barney Fife. Back comes Whitelaw. His shot steered aside by Bedard. Linton came over to keep it in. Linton for the Oldies tried to flip in front. The puck grabbed off by the Cougars and turned out too far for Jody Wellwood. Puck is back inside the line. The pass knocked down. Rock goes in to keep it in for the Cougars. Bevan ties him up as Bill Whitelaw picks it up for the Oldies. Around on the board. Linton couldn't get to it. It's cleared back into the corner. Doug Chenier will try his luck. Flipped it off a skate. It's still taken in back of the net by the Cougars. Gowood flips it back into the opposite corner. Linton golfs it to the line. Longyear lets it go. Knocked down by Doug Chenier in front of the net. The puck came free underneath them. Cougars applying the pressure now. Back to Longyear. Longyear lets another shot go off a skate. The net's empty and a great save by Fowler. What a spectacular stop.
Well, number 12 for the present-day Cougars, Corey Baker had the wide-open net, and all he could see was that red light going on. He fired it, but unfortunately, Ron Fowler came flying across that net and stopped the shot.
On the drop of the puck in the oldie zone, Stu Watson in the corner, flips it in the air, deflected almost in front of his net, and that was cleared up and scooped down on the left side. Rob Gunn firing a long one, bounces harmlessly towards the Cougar net, but it's picked up, and with a score 5-3, we're winding down here in the second. Sounded good. Great.
As long as the voices hold up, we're okay.
Good stuff. Oh, don't say that. Okay.
Puck into the Cougar zone, and Wilson clears it to center ice. It's just too far for Jimmy, and Connor got back from the old-timers to clear it up to Dwight Beer to center. Dwight Beer clearing it in. Terry Lewis hustling into the junior zone after it, and coming up with Bedard to take hold and hang on to it.
Well, certainly the pace of play. Well, today's Cougars breaking out of the zone now.
Pass in front of the net, knocked down by Fowler as Doncaster got a nice pass up, and Fowler ended up hanging on to it. And that pass by Doncaster off the right side, perhaps one of the better plays of playmaking on the junior side in the evening.
Bob, during these, because our special guests, Ivan Locke and Andy McLaughlin. So Ivan, of course, the referee-in-chief during the 2 eras, and Andy McLaughlin winding down his career as convener this year.
The puck is cleared out into center ice. Back goes Alex McLean for the junior Cougars. Feeds it on the left side. Doncaster across to Murphy in the right, in across the line. Ray Murphy cuts in the corner, throws in front off a skate. Doncaster after his check, but he rolled it into the corner. And there to pick it up, it's wrapped off the boards to Terry Lewis. And he ran headlong into Wanamaker. They didn't see one another. And Wanamaker and Lewis is still doing a little bit of pushing over here on the far side as Murphy takes it into the zone. Back to McLean. McLean shot high as it hit Fowler in the arm, deflects into the corner. And the play is called in front of
Yeah. That's 2 McGregor Electric commercials back to back.
All right, the old-timers leading 5-3, find themselves short-handed. Terry Lewis went for high sticking. Snapper Rutherford for the oldies, brings it in across the line. Trying to drop pass and hit skate, and Ray Murphy clears it up the left side to Doncaster. Doncaster in across the line, poke check. Murphy keeps it inside the line for the Cougars, winds up, shot deflected high off the glass. In back of the net goes Doncaster. Leads for Murphy. Murphy rounds the net, trying to find someone open. Has it here on the left wing side. Across ice, a shot. Fowler picked up that blue darter. And I have to laugh at Doncaster. Thought he had the upper corner of the twine. Nobody was there. And outshot that rapier-like glove of Fowler.
Well, Ronnie Fowler's come up with a couple of real big saves in this second period for the old-timers. As mentioned, they're holding a 5-3 lead in the hockey game. And interestingly enough, all 5 goals.
Beach say sure. Had it deep. On the face-off in the old-timer zone, Ray Murphy keeps it in for the junior Cougars, centering past Bill Whitelaw there to knock down. Kept it at the line by Wanamaker. He feeds back to Whitelaw. Breakaway pass for Bernie White. This ought to be interesting. White fell on, shoots, scores! He hung a deep on young Dave Bedard, who will be wrecking up his dungarees tonight after the game over at the Hudson area clinic on Ontario Street.
Well, Barney White showed that he still had a few of the afterburners there, Bob, as the Cougar defender didn't catch him.
I made the comment as soon as he broke into the clear, Brian. This ought to be interesting because I've seen Barney fight through that many a time. That deep was a real pad maneuver. And that was short-handed. The Cougar Oldies now lead at 6-3. That a short-handed goal, their second of the hockey game. And the Cougar Oldies dump the puck down ice. Bedard will be talking about that one for some time, and I'm sure it will be a topic of conversation in the dressing room, that deke by Randy Fight. in the Cougar zone, cleared high in the air to center ice, knocked down the right wing side by a high stick of Clapperton, so the face-off.
Penalty call on the play. The official on that goal, it came at 18:49. Randy Fife picking up his second goal of the hockey game. Bill Whitelaw earning the assist. A shorthanded goal for the Moldy Oldies. 18:49. Randy Fife from Bill Whitelaw.
And Bill Whitelaw's picked up a high-sticking penalty. And so the Moldy Oldies are 2 men short. On the draw, it goes to Calder, and he slides into center ice. Moving up, Dean Longyear. Longyear on the right, feeds left to Dan Guernsey, clearing into the old-timer zone. Stopped back to the net by Fowler. Paul Bevan in on it. Bevan high in the air, dumped at the length of the ice as the clock's winding down from the period, and the Oldies are 2 men short. In the Cougar zone, Dan Guernsey takes the pass, moves it up the center to Chad Murphy. Right wing side, in across the line, Longyear. Longyear stopping in the right boards, feeds in the corner, Chad Murphy. Back to Longyear on the right side. Longyear winds up, lets it go, and he fired it wide of the net. Turning around, Clapperton centers the puck in front. It's knocked down, and picking it up is Terry Lewis. Lewis will bring it out as the old-timers are 1 man short. Lewis comes to center, then across the line to Butler Sound, ending the period 6-3. The old-timers will be back for a summary and some special guests after this reminder. Junior C action live tonight on CHUC. 1-0. Little bit more in. We're getting shot. Okay, Brian. Yeah, we're listening to the radio. Thank you, Brian. And the Oldies are short-handed for a slight period of time, about a minute here to start the third period. And Brian Connor clears it to the right side. Back goes Wilson, checked by Lewis. Terry Lewis steals, tries a cut right up front, backhander. That's stopped. That's Stothard. Got his stick on that. Terry Lewis doing some stick-handling wizardry of his own there while short-handed. The Cougars back to center. Wilson backhands it in, back of the net. Fowler clears off the boards for the Oldies. And there to pick it up, Brian Connor. Connor swings on his own zone for the Oldies to center ice. Drops to Lewis. Lewis carries on to the Cougar line. Ducks a couple of checks. Takes it into the corner. Swings around Wilson in back of the Cougar net. Lewis still has it, being checked now as Ray Murphy come in to help out. And Ray Murphy feeds the puck to center. To Rock. To Murphy. Murphy in across the line, the right wing side. Has Doncaster open, but the puck was knocked off. And Jim Flesh there to clear the length of the ice. The penalty is almost expired for the old-timers. Bill Whitelaw getting ready to return to the action. 6-3, the Oldies leading. Fired down ice inadvertently. And Fowler comes out of the net, throws it back in the net. Paul Bevan beats to the puck in the corner by Clapperton. Clapperton tied up. He lost puck. It's knocked down on the sideboard. Jim Flesh comes out for the Oldies with Pollock to center. A rig-wide pass to Rutherford into the Cougar zone. Rutherford knocked it free to Pollock. A centering pass bounced off the stick just wide of the net, third to center ice. Back to Stu Watson. He'll let it go all the way down ice, and it bounced off the backboards and the mesh of the Cougar net. Ferguson for the Cougars around to Guernsey. He lost it inside the line. Here's Pollock getting a shot away. That's blocked, and stick handling just wide with it was Watson, who's in off his defense post, got caught in deep. The Cougars cleared out into center, but Doug Chenier, ever present, back on the blue line. Cleared it back to the Cougar line. Clapperton comes to center with a high shot over top of the net. Rutherford back into the corner, knocks it down as it slipped off the glass. Murphy got knocked down. In back of it. Chenier just tipped it wide of his own net. And Guernsey tried to clear it in. Back comes Jim Flesh to center ice. The Oldies lead the Cougars 6-3. Flesh to Pollock. Into the Cougar zone. Pollock in back of the net. Rounds the net. Throws it in front. It's knocked back to the net again. Pollock persists. Picks it up again for the old-timers. John Pollock from Saskatchewan flew in for this game. Clears it back to the blue line. Here's Stu Watson with a high fly. That's stopping out of the net, knocking it down. And play is called, will remind you, 6-3. How many, Stu?
7. You'll have to get that.
Well, I think that you're right on the 2 on the deal. I think him Clapperton right now.
Oh.
They've seen some great things from both of them.
No question about it.
I shouldn't call them old fellas my age, should I?
No, as I mentioned before, Bob, I'm sure that when we started doing these broadcasts, we can remember them, being driven to the arena by their parents. Now we're still around, and so are they, but we're a little bit older.
That's true. Whitelaw clears to Fife at center. Fife in across the Cougar line. Couldn't get around the defenseman Hare. The puck came back the line. Paul Devlin kept it in. In along the boards, Whitebeard to Fife. Fife in front of the net. There's Whitelaw with a shot just wide. Back to Calder from the left point. Calder's shot. That's steered aside by Stothard. Whitebeard over after it. He was checked off the puck. Dimity cleared to center ice. Bevan for the old-timers. Left side to Calder, clearing to the line. Across the line to Fife. Fife into the slot. Took a weak shot that was knocked down by Hare. And the Cougars come back to center ice with it. Hutchings to Dimity across the line. Dimity into the corner centers. It tipped off a stick. Longyear picked it up for the Cougars, tried to get it through. He was checked. And the play picked up by Paul Bevan now. Bevan slides to Whitelaw at center. Whitelaw across the line. Lets the shot go. That bounced off Hare. And he clears it back to center ice. Cougars kick it inadvertently back in their own end. It's grabbed by Bill Whitelaw, going right in a goal. He shoots and stops it with a big stop, and he hangs on.
Well, Bill Whitelaw was the recipient of a gift that time as the puck bounced back into the Cougar zone. He went in, but Stothard was able to stone him.
31 of the third period of the game, 0-0 in a playoff game, and Billy Whitelaw scored on a breakaway. And the Cougars won that one 1-0. And that was in the 73-74 playoff year. And Billy became an instant scoring threat after that.
When was the last time you saw a Junior C game 1-0?
I'll bet there are not too many people, but I can recall in that series against Lindsay, after the Cougars lost the opener 10-1, they registered 2 shutouts in their next 4 victories. 1-0 and a 2-0.
Shutouts are very scarce in Junior C hockey.
Oh, that is true. Face off in the old-timer zone, flipped in front of the net, backhand to the Fowler, knocked aside, tipped out in front again and cleared back of the net, rolls into the crease. Doug Chenier knocked it down and kicked it away with his skate, and the oldies cleared to center ice, up to Scooter Dunn. Dunn in center, he's looking for somebody, feeds it into Garth Beer on the far side. Beer ran into Richard Ferguson. The puck kept in by the old-timers, and picking it up Wilson on the left wing side. Couldn't get it past Scooter Dunn. Dunn with Kelly in across the line. The pass bounced to Beer, and Beer got knocked off the puck by Ferguson. Puck kept in by Stu Watson, and Stu didn't finesse anybody, and the Cougars break out on a 3-on-1. Ferguson with the puck, feeds on the wing, back to Ferguson in front, and scores! Ferguson took the return pass from Baker and put it home. And the Cougars cut the margin. It's now 6-4.
That was a pretty three-way passing play, and
Richard Ferguson put Baker's pass into the net. Puck in the old-timer zone, brought out by John Pollock. Up ahead to the line. Terry Irwin cuts in. Bad angle, threw it in front. It's knocked down by Alec McLean of the Cougars. And McLean got it out into center. Pollock back here. Checked off the puck. Got it back again. Pollock across the line. Still has the puck. Trying to feed it off. Takes a backhander off a skate that just went wide. There's Lewis and Wanamaker high sticking one another back in the zone again. And back across the line comes Connor. He's checked by Alec McLean. And Murphy breaks out. Ray Murphy with Rock in across the old-timers line. Murphy looks back to McLean. McLean walking in from the right point. Pass in front. Fowler got it. Rebound shot just wide of the net by Murphy. As the Cougars putting on a bonnet attack now. Trying to get back into this hockey game. Trailing 6-4. Bevan clears to Lewis. Knocked off his stick to the center zone. Taken back in by Doncaster. He's checked. And Pollock picks it up. Goes right wide. Too far for Terry Irwin. And Wanamaker clears the center of the Cougars.
It's now a 6-4 hockey game in favor of the old-timers.
Ripped around on the board to Clapperton. Puck knocked down by Beer in front of the net. That was too high. Flesh came over to pick it up. Goes to the corner. Hare after him. Flesh in back of the net. Being checked. The centering pass came all the way back into center ice. Calder goes back. Calder fanned on it, but got it back. Hands off to Stu Watson. Stu Watson's 90-footer stopped by Stothard. He hangs.
3 more to go. Okay.
Flash in across the Cougar line. His pass was too far for Rutherford in the corner. Longyear and Rutherford go in. It came free along the boards. Dwight Beer tried to feed it. It's picked up there by Hutchings. Hutchings got it to the line. Poke check Back into the Cougar zone. Flipped off the boards. Flesh there to keep it in. Being watched by Harmon. In on the far boards. Harmon and Flesh tie up. Flesh tips it to the corner. Hare goes in with Rutherford. Rutherford getting away from Hare. Goes down on top of the puck. And right on, Brian. We hope that our listening audience will stay with us after the conclusion of the
Trevor, certainly a bit of a great game. A difficult way when the Old Timers able to maybe get a little breather with the injury of Kim Linton.
Face off, the puck shot into the Cougar zone. Billy Whitelaw in the corner. He fell, got back to his feet, was knocked down again, and finally Ferguson picks it up for the Cougars. Ferguson around on the left side, feeds Wellwood. The pass in the center was knocked down. In the center zone, Wellwood picks it up again, comes in across the Oldies line, and was checked at the line, the puck line free, and picked up by Garth Beer. To Whitelaw. Across the line, Whitelaw tied up as he goes to the corner. The puck was knocked free. Wilson got it, flipped it off a skate, goes after it again. That's kept in by Barney Fife, and he fires it off the boards in the corner to Whitelaw. Whitelaw in the corner, trying to find an open man, goes in back of the net to Beer. Beer around the cage. Whitelaw sprung open, but Beer can't get the puck to him. Beer picks it up, ducks around Wilson, still tries to get away with it, knocks Wilson into the net, and the puck cleared around by the Cougars. Barney Fife keeping it in, fanning on it at the point. Whitelaw picking it up. He turns for a shot, blasts a good save. As that went off the right pad and goal post. Clearing puck came in front of the net, and they knock it into the net. Bill Whitelaw. The puck came into a scramble in front, and Bill Whitelaw was there to poke it home to give the Oldies a 7-4 lead. Just when we talk about what appeared to be a sag, the Oldies picked it up a notch and potted one.
Well, Bill Whitelaw came close on a couple of other occasions, but finally he managed to get this one home. And Bob, KU Cougars.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
Have to wait for the official on the goal.
Puck is cleared into the Cougar zone. Dunn cleared it in front. It's knocked down. Kelly rolls through the crease. Pauling with a backhander. Stothard stopped that. And the Cougars get it to the line and out. And it's brought in on an offside.
But instant replay in hockey, but it's pretty difficult, I think, Bob.
Ray Murphy across the line. Fowler kicks out his long blast. Doncaster to the corner. Centers it out. Here's a shot by Murphy. Wide of the net again. Rock rolls it into the crease area. Doncaster trying to get it in front. He's down on the puck. Loved it ahead, and the play was called.
6-3 after 2.
Long shot by Guernsey. Fowler gloves clears to the sideboards. Terry Irwin rolls it to center. Picked up by Lewis on the left side to Dwight Beer. Across the line. Shot deflected wide. Stothard grabs it off the backboards and hangs on for a face-off. 6-4. Less than 10.
2 or 4. How we doing, Brian? Oh, just one more to go. All right. Just one more to go.
Does you want one more in here or one more at the end of the period?
One more before the
6-4 in favor of the Old Timers.
Flesh clears the puck to center ice. Backward is Hare. Rutherford after him, and they both went by the puck. Back of the net, Flesh tries to pick it up. It's wheeled around to Clapperton here on the right side. Clapperton into center to Chad Murphy. Murphy in across the line. Couldn't get past the Cougar defense. Longier picks it up in center. Rolled it in. It'll be a delay on the offside. And then Bevan missed a wide open White Beer for Garth Beer down here on the left wing side. Hare in back of the Cougar net. 6-4. The Old Timers leading the Cobourg Cougars. To center, Dean Longier to the line, a long shot, Fowler passes to the corner, Guernsey in after it, centered the puck in front and rolled loose, but Fowler third it to Beer. Beer on the left wing side, goes right wide, picking it up on the far side and looking for somebody in front is Rutherford. He goes in back of the net, then throws it in front, off a skate right to Stothard. It's still free in that melee, and finally it's called, and I've noticed the clock. I think what happened that way was when they put the new mechanism on the inboard gate, they had to raise the light. So in raising it, it has kept anyone from seeing the sports time or the actual time in any given period. On the drop, the puck in the Cougar zone. Ferguson has it right side, clears to center. Picked up in center. Hutchings across the line, faked the shot and was stopped by Connor. Up ahead again. Jim Flash couldn't get that pass from Rutherford as he collided with Dimony. Back to the long shot. He scored on a long blast by Wilson. He had a 45-footer go from the left boards. Fowler got a piece of it. It trickled in to put it home. All right, the junior Cougars trailing by 1, 6-5. Back across the line. Hutchings with a blast. And out coming up for a big save. There's one foul on that one there. Hutchings would have tied this one up.
Well, the Cougars of today come within a goal now, 6-5. The goal coming at
From the face-off, knocks it free. Whitelaw up the fight, in across the line, waiting for Whitelaw. Back to Whitelaw, in front of backhander, picked up by Stothard. And a shot, they score! The rebound, Al Dick is over-explaining this in front of the net. The Cougars are now telling the referee that the puck hit the post. But from my vantage point, it hit underneath the roof of the net and came down. But if it get untangled, when the shot came to the left boards up under the roof of the net. Shot into the old-timer zone, cleared to Barney Fife. He's got Whitelaw with him, and they call the offside on Bill Whitelaw. Well, Brian, you have the official on that goal.
Whitelaw and Randy Fife picking up assists on the play. John Pauly from Bill Whitelaw and Randy Fife.
All right, the puck dumped into the Cobourg zone. Back of the net, Doncaster goes in, feeds it along the backboards, and it's knocked away by Randy Fife. Bill Whitelaw picks it up for the Oldies, starting out of his own zone. Center to Stu Watson. And Rocket Man let it go right on by down the ice, and then Stu goes up to the Cougar zone, hoping somebody will pull it back, because he's standing back in the Cougar end as it came to center ice. The puck cleared inside the line. The Cougars try to bring it out. Play is called. That was on a delayed offside. Satisfied at this point in time just to clear the puck and not to become too offensive-minded. And there's Garth Beer with a neat move at his own line, gets to Irwin at center. Irwin back to Connor. Connor comes to the line, back to Irwin at the red line. Back to Connor and across the Cougar line. Connor's shot picked off by Stothard. And he hangs on from
that last year. Yeah, I would say, yeah. But the tricky one's going to be from the other team.
Puck in the old-timer zone, picked up there by Herman. He tried to flip in front. Fowler bats it back to the corner. Garth Beer in the corner is being tied up. Herman got it back to the long ear. He was poked in. Here's Terry Lewis going down one-on-one. Lewis lets the blast go. Kicked out by Stothard. And Lewis got knocked off stride and slides right into Stothard.
Days, put up a very, very admirable performance. It's not what I think a lot of people would have thought.
The puck in the Cougar zone from the draw. There's a shot by Rutherford. A fine stop by Stothard, and he hangs on for the face.
The thing that this older team was known for was their ability to handle the puck in their passing.
They sure were. And Rutherford on the draw clears it across ice, and Rock picks it up, drops it back into the corner of his own zone to Alex McLean, and the puck came to the sideline, out to the engineer, and he banded the shot. Got it right back again. Can't find him. Doug doing a dance out there. Here's kept in now. Pollock for the shot. That bounced off the back of his teammate Jimmy Flesh, who's saying thanks for that one, John.
Oh, Fleshy's up on the skates. They made it possible for Andy to make the appearance out on the ice.
Yes, I did. Everybody's getting in the act here tonight. And certainly the crowd here tonight has just been tremendous. Most receptive. I see people in the rink tonight, Brian, I have not seen in this rink in many, many years.
Certainly a couple of special guests of the Cougars tonight, Thelma Chartrand, especially for them up there tonight.
I had the opportunity to speak to both of them before the game, and it was just a thrill to see them up at the rink. And the late Joe Chartrand was a tremendous worker back in the 73, 74 days of the Cougars and the prior years of that, early years of the Cougars team. Nice to see Mr. Chartrand. The Cougars get it across the line to Ray Murphy, ducks a check, and then was upset. The puck rolls into the Cougars' crease. And the Cougars down on their hands and knees on top of the puck, but just a shame there were 3 minutes remaining here tonight.
Well, no question about it. In fact, just looking across the way, they announced one of the numbers, and I see a youngster over there with one of the Union hats on and tickets clasped in his hand. He's on his way over there now to get in line to pick up his hockey.
That's good. On the face-off, Fowler come out of his net, rails it off the horse to Dwight Beer to center. Up to Fife. Fife to Whitelaw. Right side in across the line. Whitelaw back to Fife. Fife cuts into the corner with it. Still has it in the corner and fell off stride. And we've got a couple of Cougars doing a little pushing in front of the net. And it's Dwight Beer and I believe it's Wanamaker. Wanamaker for A has been the third off to the left of Tom Stothard. While they're both penalized on the face-off, the Oldies get a long shot from Watson to sketch out. Big Stu like to pop one, I can tell you that. He's trying really hard. and both players receive penalties for high sticking. Kelly gets the puck up in the center ice to Garth Beer. Across the line to Dunn. Dunn on his wrong wing. Shot just high over top of the corner. Puck along the boards. Calder blocks his man and then ties up another man going to center ice. Kelly coming back, picked up the puck and dumped to the center. Dunn to Garth Beer. In across the line. He sidesteps the check. Let the weak shot go. Bounces to the right side. Picked up by Kelly in front of the net, deflected behind the cage. Scooter Dunn in after it, kicks it along the boards to Beer, and his centering pass was picked off, and coming back down the right side, the center is Ferguson. And Guernsey fanned on the shot as he hit the line. Stu Watson then was checked. That caused the offside. So
Barney Fife, a pair of goals, a pair of assists. John Pollock, a goal and a couple of assists. Bill Whitelaw with 3 assists. Certainly just a few of the players that come to mind on the Old Timers team.
Puck in the center ice zone. Pollock knocking it down, trying to pursue the puck. He still has it. Drops it back to Doug Chenier. Chenier faked the pass to Connor. Didn't throw it. He feeds it to center to Irwin. Irwin back inside his own zone. He's having all kinds of trouble with the puck. Finally lost it to Guernsey. Guernsey tries to center. Irwin knocked it down. Chips it off the board. The puck's kept in by Wilson. Wilson to Guernsey. Guernsey into the corner of the left side. Knocked off his feet. Chenier rings it around on the boards to the left wing side. It came all the way back out to center ice. Richard Ferguson, one of the obvious people in line in the Cougar side of things for that MVP. Quite a fine game. Back comes Irwin. Across ice to Lewis. Lewis ducks a check, cuts in front of the net, lost the puck. Shot, Pollock scored! Pollock followed up Kerry Lewis and put it into the empty net.
John Pollock scoring his second goal of the hockey game as Terry Lewis had broken in and disrupted the goaltender and the defense back there. Pollock able to pick up the puck and fire it.
Cougars come back. Hutchings across the Old Timers line. Cuts into the corner. Back to Harmon. Harmon's pass in front. Fowler picked it off.
Pollock from Terry Lewis and Doug Chenier. An 8-5 hockey game in favor of the Old Timers.
On the draw, back to the point. Jody Woolwood kept it in for the Cougars. Rolls it back in the Old Timers net. Paul Bevan in there. And he tied it.
So we got 10 on one side and 22.
Late for the Old Timers. And for the Cougars, 22.
You just passed them downhill. Play around the Cougar net, and finally play hard took over in the second period. So Coach Max Bevan has given all his goaltenders a shot at this special game.
Certainly knows every one of these old-timer Cougars very well because Max in the same age bracket as most of these fellows. Back comes Murphy for the Cougars across the line. Stops in the circle, feeds it to Doncaster. He chips it back to McLean. McLean winds up, shot wide on that. Murphy picks it up, turns for a blast, and he fires it wide. Rock centers it right in front. There's a shot in. Oh, Fowler just stoned Doncaster for the second time tonight. That's probably true, Brian. On the face-off, the Old-Timers. Kelly rolls the puck to center. That's knocked down by Pollock. Pollock to the line, couldn't get in. And the Butler Sounds ending the game. 8-5 for the Old-Timers. We'll be back with some everything.
and 45 seconds. Randy Fife picking up his first of 2 on the night. Bill Whitelaw and Kim Linton earning assists on the play. The Cougars of today came back to tie it at 1 at 10:56. Dave Hare, his first goal ever as a Cougar from Ray Murphy. At 17:04, Pat Rutherford gave the Old-Timers a 2-1 lead. John Pollock and Jim Flesh earning assists on the play. And that's the way the first period ended, 2-1 in favor of the Old-Timers. The Old-Timers out shooting the Cougars 18-5. And they picked up the only 2 minor penalties of that second period. Check that, of the first period. In the second period, the Old-Timers came out and built the lead to 3-1 on a goal by Garth Beer. Terry Lewis and Terry Irwin earning assists on the play. Then the Cougars of today came back with a couple of quick ones, just 40 seconds apart. At 7:07, Trev Clapperton from Dan Guernsey and Ray Murphy, and Dan Guernsey from Trev Clapperton and Chad Murphy knotting the score at 3. Jim Flesh put the Old-Timers up to stay at 4-3 at 10:01. Jim Flesh from John Pollock, a short-handed goal, and the Old-Timers took a 4-3 lead. Paul Bevan up with one more at 15:09. He picked up the goal with the help of Kim Linton and Randy Fife. At 18:49, Barney Fife on a breakaway, his second goal of the hockey game, giving the Old-Timers a 6-3 lead. Bill Whitelaw earning the assist on the short-handed goal. The second period ending 6-3 in favor of the Old-Timers. Shots on goal in that second period, 14-13 in favor of today's Cougars. 2 period totals. The Old-Timers out shooting today's Cougars 31-19. Only 4 penalties called in that second period. A 2-period total. The Old-Timers picking up all 6 penalties. The third period opened at 5:10 when Rich Ferguson brought the Cougars of today to within 2. He picked up the goal from Jody Wellwood and Corey Baker, and then Paul Wilson with a howitzer that just got by goaltender Ron Fowler at 12:02 brought the Cougars of today to within 1 goal margin, 6-5. 12:02, Paul Wilson unassisted. However, the Old-Timers stormed back, and at 12:28, it was John Pollock from Bill Whitelaw and Randy Fife rebuilding that 2-goal lead at 7-5. The icing on the cake at 18:42. John Pollock, his second goal of the hockey game. Terry Lewis and Doug Chenier picking up assists, an 8-5 final score. Shots on goal in the third period. The Cougars of today outshot the Old-Timers 13-12. However, the Old-Timers on the basis of that big first period outshot the Cougars of today 43-32. 2 minor penalties called in that third period, 1 to each hockey club. Game total, a total of 8 minor penalties.
How are you doing, Mrs. McGregor? What do you think? What do you think of these boys tonight? Out there, Randy. You look good. Played a great game out there, guys. Where's the lad with stitches? Let's have a look at it. Ah, yeah, that looks good.
Come and see me tomorrow when I got a black eye. You're too tough to get a black eye. You know, lady back here looking at him.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. Trying to get you got a black eye. You're playing pretty good. Are you drinking my stuff? Did he ever?
Well, Andy, they made you go to work, eh?
Yeah, get fussy. You couldn't get by without. You can't buy that here right west.
Well, here we are. Back at the Whitelaw residence. Who's the bartender? Have we met?
Hello, Mom.
Send money. Send money.
Hey, Bill. Bill, it's Darcy place for you. Bill and Whitby calling. Hot in Europe. They're missing one of the pupils. Hey, hold on. We're talking European scene. Whatever you want, pupil.
What was that, Snap?
Hello.
It's a puzzle.
We are the Cougars, and the
That's what I said. What? Hey, Billy. Want to snap Rutherford? Snap!
And there's Mr. John Fisher. How you doing, Johnny? I'm just running out the end of this tape. And how are you, sir?
I'm fine, thank you.
Great evening, wasn't it?
This is what Calgary does.
There's what you call a hot girl. It's your fault.
I don't know.
My babysitter?
I don't know.
Good.
Hey,
Boo, are you on the bus?
You guys on the bus? Jerry to get off the phone.
You on the bus? Were you?
No.
But Bob, just repeat what you said. What did you say again?
Take at least a half an hour to think about what to say about these bunch of assholes out here.
Yeah, well, there you go. That ought to...
What do you think?
What do you think?
Speaking of assholes, Randy, Barney, come here. You want this is exclusive. You'll need the right angle lens for Barney.
Where is it?
Barney, here it is. Right angle lens. Okay, Barney.
All right.